Now, one thing is for certain about the general public is that they have become very much exhausted about celebrities, about many different personalities out there, handing out political lectures and just lectures in general about how they should live their day-to-day lives, or how they should actually view Hollywood, the film industry, and even the music industry. And the latest example of this has a lot to do with actor Will Smith. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about Will Smith that we all know is that at times he can actually become very erratic. He can actually become very vocal, and in a very frustrating way toward the general public. Of course, we already know that ever since what happened, I believe it was back in 2022 at the Oscars, the whole Chris Rock slap situation, that's when a lot of people actually lost their overall view or their perception of Will Smith of who he once was, and they actually saw him in a very different way. And ever since then, he's been trying to make a comeback with his acting career, and now, of course, with his, music career when it comes to rap, and how he's trying to make a rap comeback. And there's been a lot of controversies going on out there, especially with the whole generated crowd controversy floating around out there, and that there's a lot of claims out there. What's interesting here, though, has a lot to do with Will Smith now getting on the political bandwagon and really firing back at the general public yet again. Let's get into this. Now, one thing is for certain is that we know that Will Smith and even Jada Pinkett Smith, alright, these two have been going on multiple temper tantrums in the previous, I would say, 2.5 years during the fallout of the whole Chris Rock slap situation. However, with actor Will Smith already creating a second wave of backlash after not only snapping at the general public again and going on multiple debates even with his own fans that have walked away in the long run, but now Will Smith is already starting to go down the political route yet again, especially after his rap comeback backfired in different areas just recently. Will Smith recently delivered the following to the public in a moment of outrage. Look, the way I see it right now is that we are a divided country. But not just a divided country, we are a divided world, and I have seen attacks on both the music industry and the film industry, both of which I am grateful for and passionate about. I think when you truly examine what's wrong with people right now is that there is a disgust with this administration and their attack on the music industry and the film industry for cherishing things like diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I spoke this over with Jada on whether or not I should really call out the insanity and come forward about this that we are dealing with right now. But our industry is going through a terrible transition, and it's very much at stake, whether it's for film or music. One thing this administration is very good at, sadly, is turning people against others, and I have dealt with this firsthand, and Jada has too. It's something you never really want to go through, but I personally have. If speaking out about my concerns over all the losses, and of course over everything that I actually have concerns about, loses me support, then so be it. Because after a while, it's just something you can't really keep quiet about anymore, Look, I have a love for rap, I have a love for film, and I am making my comeback whether people like that or not in different areas of my career. It's just a matter of principle. It's a matter of doing what's best for me and what's best for Jada. But this administration needs to stop with their attacks on the love for diversity in show business. All their attacks show is their own fear and ignorance toward everything. Toward those that value the arts, and I won't put up with it. I won't stop and can't stop. And many people have criticisms about my efforts to make a comeback in different areas of my career, but that's for them to worry about. What we all need to worry about is the power of this administration and what they are doing toward the industry. Now guys, let me just say one thing about Will Smith here, is that we know that he is still having a tough time winning back all of the lost fans. Ever since the 2022 Oscar situation, that's a pretty much, for sure given thing at this point. And he may have actually won back some fans here and there, but he certainly isn't winning back everybody. A lot of people lost a lot of respect for Will Smith, what he did back a couple of years ago, and essentially, well, it's not going too well from him, especially now that he's getting very much political, and how he's talking for Jada Pinkett Smith now in different areas again. And look, we know that he is trying to make a comeback in acting. He's trying to make a comeback in music, specifically with his rap career, and I'm not really quite sure how it's going to really turn out in the long run. Now, we know that there's a lot of claims going on out there that he had a generated crowd, generated audience that wasn't real in the most recent presentation for his rap comeback. We'll talk more about that down the road. And I think low-key, he's really trying to snap back at those claims about the people actually, you know, pointing out obvious things here about his rap career. But moving on forward, he continues, alright, to those out there like Trump and his supporters, I think they just need to back the hell off, man, because I am an advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is the backbone of Hollywood. It is the backbone of music, and I won't sit down without exposing the truth. So let me just say one thing about Will Smith, is that Hollywood's backbone has nothing to do with DEI. The music industry's backbone has nothing to do with DEI either. DEI became an obsession in the most recent years. I would definitely say right around when Trump came into office in 2016/17, right around that time frame. We all know that that's when Hollywood really doubled down on their overall agenda, their messaging, etc. And people are just tired of it all, man. I mean, look, we know that people are tired of Will Smith and his overall rants, his overall tirades that he's gone on. Jada Pinkett Smith, the same exact thing as well, right? Now, when you're looking at this in the rearview mirror, we know that DEI is vanishing, but there is a resistance. There is an obvious resistance out there. A handful of celebrities obsessing over this, getting abolished. A handful of celebrities that will not actually back down and will not actually give up over the fact that people are just tired of DEI. They're tired of all of the forced agendas and messaging coming from various studios in Hollywood. And that's exactly why people are walking away from Hollywood and focusing on other areas of entertainment. So what's interesting here is that he goes on to conclude, we all need to stop being so naive and lost and to educate ourselves on the efforts coming from this administration and just how damaging they really are to the American people and to the rest of the world out there that values DEI. All I can say right now is that any negative claims about me that you have heard, any kind of criticisms floating around out there about my motives to make a comeback, it's all pure fiction coming from the supporters of this administration. So look, you got people out there like Will Smith, Robert De Niro, Alec Baldwin, George Clooney. They're going to say whatever they have to say to make their point across and to really just make it as if DEI is something that needs to be protected at all costs. If anything, DEI damaged the entire film industry. It damaged the music industry. It damaged, you know, things like video games out there, organizations, right? In people's everyday jobs out there. You know, we know that DEI is pretty much embedded in everywhere, you know, that you look at, essentially. Every place, everywhere, it's pretty much something that really needs to go away, and it's working to a degree. We know that different organizations, businesses, studios, etc., they're really trying to just back down from that, but there's other, you know, studios, organizations, and businesses that are trying to keep DEI in play, essentially. We all know what Cracker Barrel tried to do in recent months, especially now. In recent weeks, what they tried to do with the logo, what they tried to do with the redesign of the restaurant, and they're still trying to defend that, but they are keeping the iconic logo, thankfully, after so much backlash hit them. But that's aside from the fact. I would like to hear what everyone has to say about Will Smith, about his overall rant here, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.